Hey, welcome back traders for another backtesting session. So we just got done with the month of May. We're going to be moving on to the first week of June. So as you know, the first week is going to be non-farm payroll. So I'm not planning on doing any backtesting trades on Thursday or Friday, but I'm going to take a look at the weekly chart right now just to get a higher time frame view as we go into the first week of June. Before we get started, please like and subscribe. So looking at the weekly chart, you can see that we did come back down into this fair value gap. We did not get down to the lower one, but you can see this long wick on the weekly candle. It looks like we are kind of moving away from the fair value gap, so we could be going for higher targets. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the daily. And zooming in here, you can see this long wick on the daily chart. Now if we look a little bit closer, we do have two daily CBs, so I'm going to be keeping an eye on whether or not we're going to be trading above these. If we start trading through them and going above both of these, I think we are going to go for a new all-time high and doing a projection from this low to this high, or I think this high back here. You can see we have a 0.5 standard deviation and a -1 standard deviation, so those could be our higher time frame targets. If we are to start rallying up higher, of course, the 0.5 standard deviation would be the first target. So June 3rd, Monday morning, on the hourly chart, you can see we had a pretty big move down, move up. So I'm kind of looking at this as a balanced price range. I don't really think price should come down below this if we're going to continue on the upside. Now on the upside, we do have a nearby target here above this high, but I think a more reasonable one would be this high up here, just at the low of that daily fair value gap. We do have some relative equal highs here and here, so those are going to be targets in the future if we are going to continue with the bullish run, going above both of these fair value gaps. Here on the 15-minute chart, nothing really looks that great, honestly, but if we look over here, this is kind of flat. So for the sell side, I do have this lined up here. I think maybe we could come and sweep the sell side here first before seeing displacement up for this target. And here we are on the 5 minutes. So here is the sell side. I'm looking for price to come down and sweep it one more time and then create a setup for the upside for this target close to the high of that daily fair value gap. But we don't necessarily have to go down this low. We could just come for the low here and here. That could be good enough, but I'm going to give it some time, wait for 8:30, wait for 9:30 to see if we can get a sweep below these lows. Okay, and here is 9:30, 8:30. We didn't really do too much, and we just continuously just grinded up, and then we went ahead and took out this high here. So this now, the buy side has been taken, and now I'm looking for price to come and displace toward these relative equal lows. We could potentially have a short here. Just going to zoom out a little bit just to see that we did take that buy side target, but with our next one is going to be up here at the other daily CB. But being a Monday, I think we may just come down for these lows, at least for the time being. And what's going to maybe get me into a short is if we take out this low, that will be a change in the not a change, it will be a shift in the market structure. And if we have a setup, could potentially think about taking these relative equal lows. Okay, and just before 10 o'clock, kind of getting a displacement here. You can see after taking out the buy side, we've had this pretty big displacement. Potentially we have a fair value gap here. Am I going to take that first one? I don't know, potentially, but I would ideally want to wait for a confirmation fair value gap, because the range here, if I have the risk at the high at 755, potentially I enter short here at 693, so that's going to be 60 points of risk. Pretty big, but we'll see where the fair value gap closes. I would like to see confirmation, have this fair value gap remain intact, go up, create another fair value gap with a more reasonable risk. That would be an entry for these relative equal lows. Okay, so we do have a 5-minute candle here that pretty much wicked up and rebalanced this entire range. I don't really think we're going to be going back up into it. Now with this long wick, I'm looking at 50% of it. There's potentially kind of reasonable if we enter here at 705 with our risk up here at the high at 730. So that will give us about 25 points of risk. I could go ahead and try for that. I mean, it's not really with the model. The model is going for a fair value gap. So I'm actually not going to enter it, but just letting you guys know kind of what I'm thinking. Like I want to see price come and use this as resistance. I don't want to see 50% of this wick being traded above, like, you know, like on a closing basis. It could wick through it, but really I want to see 50% of this wick hold up as the ceiling to push price even lower. You can potentially enter here, have your risk at the high of this wick. That could be a reasonable trade, but not going to be for this backtesting model. Unfortunately, I'm waiting to see if we create a fair value gap here. Okay, so you can see price did come up to 50% of that wick. It wicked through it a few times, but it looks like we are going to be coming down lower now. It looks like we're going to be going below this up candle. Potentially, there is a fair value gap here. So if I do get a fair value gap intact here, my risk would be at the high of this fair value gap, and I will enter here at the low. This would be 681 to 710, giving me about a 30-point risk. And I'm going to be looking for these relative equal lows to go get hit. Okay, so it is 10:55. Price just dove down for those relative equal lows. Did not give me a chance to enter with this fair value gap. If I would have taken it with like 50% of this wick, that would have been basically the perfect entry. Take off a partial here, maybe even close down the entire trade. Taking a look at the bigger picture, how much lower can we go? Well, there is this low down here. We may be rebalancing some of this. I don't really want to see 50% of this gap get traded down to, like, so I want to see only price remain in the upper 50% of this blue. This was a daily fair value gap, a previous fair value gap. But yeah, we could be going for this low. Okay, so you can see that we are kind of heading towards this low, but there's big fair value gap here. If we do get a little bit of retracement, I don't want to take it at the low of the fair value gap. I think the risk up here with the entry at the low will be a little too big, but I will try and enter just one contract at 50% of this fair value gap with my risk up here, looking for the next sell side to get taken. This will give me, I don't know, like maybe 2 to 1 looks like. 2 to 1 would be pretty nice, but just going to do one contract, see if it works or not. You know, like, I don't really like how the sell side was already taken, so this may not work out. May not even come take me in, so we'll see what happens. Okay, 11:45, I did get wicked in, so I'm in short, looking for my target here. If we go below this low, no matter what, if we go below this low, I'm gonna move my stop to at least break even, and then we'll see if this target gets hit. And of course, my risk is back up here at 674. Okay, perfect. It is 12:15. My time window is, well, it's over, but you know, just right before it, we went ahead and took out the sell side target, so that was a pretty nice win. Anyways, that's pretty good. Only did one contract, and I'm glad I had my entry at the middle of this fair value gap instead of at the low, because that if I had it at the low, that would be like maybe 60 points of risk, and I reduced it to only just 45 points of risk by having it at the middle of this fair value gap. Another reason why I did that is because I did not like how we took out these relative equal lows already, so I wasn't sure if this is going to go my way. So therefore I opted to just go ahead and enter a little bit higher. That way we have a little bit less risk if we do get stopped out. But luckily it worked out. Let's see what the end of the day looks like. Let's move on to the next day. So here's the end of the day. Price did dive down a little bit lower, but ultimately started to reverse back to about where we started off in the day, right underneath that daily fair value gap. So I'm expecting this to be the Judas swing for the week, and I'm looking for higher targets going into the next day. Taking a quick look at the spreadsheet. So we had our entry here, risk here, and it was about a 2 to 1, not exactly 2 to 1, but pretty close. So pretty nice win going into the next day. So Tuesday and Wednesday are going to be my last 2 days of opportunity this week. I'm not going to be trading Thursday or Friday. So here's Tuesday morning on the 1 hour chart. Monday, we went down into this fair value gap to kind of rebalance a little bit. Remember, I'm looking at this as a balanced price range. I don't want to see price really go through it. Going through about 50%, that's reasonable. That's perfectly fine. You can see we kind of stayed in the upper half of this fair value gap as well. We did dip down a little bit more. I don't really like how we went below this fair value gap on the 1 hour, but hopefully we'll start reversing here, have a change in the state of delivery, start moving higher up away from this blue fair value gap. I don't really want to see this red fair value gap really, give us too much resistance. I want to see us pretty much just trade straight through it. And I'm looking for the target up here at the low of this next fair value gap. There are relative equal highs as well. This could be a potential partial here, but really I'm looking for the target back up here on this high on Thursday. Looking at the 15-minute, these highs right here look pretty flat as well, so I'm just going to mark this out. This would be a nice partial to go for if we do get into a long. I can see that price did come back down into this 15-minute fair value gap, so I can see why we went down for the sell side here. But now after we went through a few times, I think this is good enough. I don't really want to see any more sells I get taken. I want to start seeing displacement to the upside. So above here, this would be a change in the market structure. Well, I guess it's called a market structure shift. So above here would be a market structure shift, and I'll be looking to take any kind of fair value gaps up for these relative equal highs. Okay, just before 9:30, don't know what happened here. There was a little staggering. It kind of just gapped up around 8:55. I don't know. It could be an issue with Charles Schwab and their data. I don't know, but it did come up for this high right here. It wicked through it just a little bit, but that's still a shift in the market structure. So I'm looking for price to maybe come back down into this gap. I really don't know what this is. You may just want to ignore it if you see this kind of stuff, because this is not normal. Usually this kind of gap is going to be like a new week opening gap or a new day opening gap, but for it to happen like in the middle of the day, it's not like super rare, but a little unusual. Okay, so it is 10 o'clock. At 9:30, we actually went down pretty low into this gap. Then we just like chopped around in this area, went up for the high one more time, didn't take out the buy side, and now we are below this up candle. Looks like we are going to be heading for some sell side. So maybe this low to get taken, maybe those lows, but I think maybe this one, and we'll see what happens. But just seeing the price action so far at the opening bell, I'm not really excited to trade today, because you can see all these candles here are pretty much overlapping one another. It's very, very choppy, so may not have some good price action today. So it is a little bit before 11 o'clock. You can see the choppiness here. We didn't take out the sell side, and if you just look through all this candle, there's no fair value gap, right? It's been nearly an hour and a half, no fair value gaps. It's meaning that price is very, very choppy. It's very, very efficient right here. As traders, we want to look for areas of inefficiency. So because there's no fair value gaps, this is probably not a good trading condition. Okay, so it is 11:30. Finally, I see one fair value gap. It is a SIBI. Looks like we may be using the SIBI to go for the low here, but it's kind of a small range. It's not really like the intermediate time frame what I'm looking for, and being today is very, very choppy. And also it is 11:30, only about like 40 minutes left in my time window of trading, so I think I'm just gonna let it go, not do anything today. But let's see what happens before lunchtime. Okay, so 12:30, my window of trading is over. Price did come back up into this 5-minute SIBI, and it's just kind of slowly chopping down. I think it will take out these lows. Yeah, we'll see what it looks like at the end of the day, but you can see this whole entire price action was not very good. If you see this kind of stuff, you should just be satisfied to not trade on these kind of days, because it's not going to give you a good experience. Here's the end of the day, and of course I was wrong. We did not take out this low, instead chopped around a little bit during lunch and then rallied back up. opened the PM session with some more choppiness, and then something happened at 2 o'clock. Maybe there was some news or something, but we started rallying up for those relative equal highs. So we did take out the buy side target, got very, very close to that other buy side target that I was looking for, but just shy of it. Then we started going back down, and now we are consolidating within the daily fair value gap. So I'm not sure what this means going into tomorrow. I think I'm going to need to see how the chart looks tomorrow morning, probably only 1 hour, maybe the 4 hour, but let's go ahead and take a look. Okay, so here is the 1 hour, Wednesday morning, 8 o'clock. You can see that these relative equal highs were taken overnight, and then right here, this was another buy side target just below this daily fair value gap that was taken out as well this morning. So now what I'm looking for is the next buy side target above these relative equal highs, and if we can start trading above this daily fair value gap, I would like to see it use as support to push price higher into the next buy side target. Here on the 15-minute, you can see that at 3 o'clock London session, we did go below this low, and then we took out the buy side above all these flat highs. So we've taken the sell side already. What I'm saying is I don't really think that we need another sell side sweep. If anything, if we sweep the sell side one more time, I think maybe it will be this low. I don't think it's going to go all the way back down there. But like I said, I want to see price remain in the upper half of this daily fair value gap. We do have a 15-minute fair value gap here. I'm going to mark it out. Maybe this can be used to bounce price up for the higher target. 8:45, so 8:30 we didn't do too much, but we did go back into that 15-minute fair value gap. We did wick through it a little bit, but you can see the 5-minute bodies, they stayed within this 15-minute fair value gap, and now it looks like we are rallying higher. So this is potentially for us to go for the next higher target, which is at 18,880. Just before the 9:30 opening bell, we are rallying higher from here. Now, I'm not really just going to enter in whatever because it kind of looks a little weird. I would still like to see it come down at least into this fair value gap. Here, let me go ahead and adjust this so you can see what I'm talking about. I want to see it come down into at least this fair value gap. It could even take out the sell side here or these relative equal lows here. But I want to see, after doing one of these three things that I mentioned, then I want to start seeing confirmation. I want to see another fair value gap to the upside, and perhaps I'll take the very next one, or I may even wait for a second fair value gap. But let's see what 9:30 will do. Okay, so at 9:30, it did come back down into that daily fair value gap. Look at the bodies of the candle. This staying right at the top of that daily fair value gap. It even wicked into it one more time. So let me just zoom in to give you a clearer look. I guess it doesn't really need to come back into this fair value gap, although now it's creating a swing low just above it. So we could come back down, take out the swing low, go back into this fair value gap. But anyways, I don't really see any fair value gaps here. So just going to keep waiting to see what happens. Okay, getting close to 10:30. You can see we chopped around a little bit. Then we came back down, took out that low, went into this fair value gap just like I said, and now we are going higher. We actually went ahead and took the buy side target. So I want to zoom out to the 1 hour, see what the next buy side target could be, and let me zoom out just a little bit more. So I'm looking to, okay, so if we're going to go higher, I am looking for these highs right here. We already took this one out. I'm gonna go ahead and just move this up to the next high. It's very close to this one, but I think one of these two will be the next target. And I think there is a potential setup here. So if this fair value gap remains intact, I could think about entering into here with my risk at the low of the fair value gap. If I have it at the high of the fair value gap, that is going to give me about 50 points of risk, which is a good amount. Another thing that I have been doing lately, I could be aiming for the middle of this fair value gap. So if I aim for here, this would be about 857 or so, giving me about 32 points of risk. So that could be more reasonable for me, but let's see where this fair value gap finishes, and then I'll decide what to do. But most likely I'll either take it at the high of the fair value gap or in the middle. Okay, and it looks like it's just gonna rally straight for the next target. It may not come back for me. So just gonna wait here, no trades yet. I'm not putting in any trades, just gonna wait to see if anything now, because of this big rally, if it comes back all the way down here, I wanna see it used as support. I wanna see another fair value gap as confirmation, and I'll enter in the confirmation fair value gap. But so far, it looks like this fair value gap here, this was a nice entry, but I didn't enter it because I didn't know if it was going to come for the sell side one more time or not. So this was kind of a risky entry if you wanted to take it here, but I went ahead and just waited for the next fair value gap. Okay, a little bit after 11 o'clock, you can see we're getting very close to the next sell side or the next buy side target. We had price come back into this fair value gap, the most recent fair value gap, and now we have potentially created another one. So if we create another fair value gap here, this could be a potential entry with your risk down here at the low of this fair value gap, and you can probably enter here or wherever this fair value gap closes if it remains intact, and aim for the next buy side target. But I don't know, it's kind of like already very close to the target. The risk to reward, you're kind of losing out now because there's not too much reward left, and it could come back down into this inefficiency. So just gonna keep my eyes here, and I'm probably not going to be making a trade here, but I want to just let you know what I'm thinking. Potentially this could be a confirmation fair value gap, but probably won't take this trade. Okay, and as you can see, fair value gap did close in over here, and we did tick underneath it into this fair value gap just by a tick or so. The low was at 30.75, the low here is at 31. So yeah, one tick into the fair value gap, and then it went straight for the target. So if you did try to enter here, it would have worked out. You would have got a very nice trade with no drawdown whatsoever. But like I said, it was very close to the target already, and it could actually come back down, sweep this low one more time, maybe going to this fair value gap. So I just felt like it wasn't really there, right? Usually you want to enter in a discount. So like, for example, if you take the range from, let's say, our target somewhere around here down to, let's say, this low, this was the last swing low that was significant. Here is the 50% line, right? So anything above it is premium. Anything below it, that is going to be discount. So if you want to do a long, ideally you will make a long somewhere in the discount level. So that's why I was looking at this fair value gap. If price came back to this fair value gap and then you give me a confirmation fair value gap, that's when I will enter. That's why I said before, that's what I wanted to see, because this was in discount. This right here was in premium, pretty much like 70% or 75% of this range. You could enter there, it's just that's not something that's ideal, right? It could come back down for discount before going to our target. So anyways, it did work out. Let's go ahead and just take a look at the rest of the day's action. This week's trading is done. I'm over it, but we'll still take a look at Thursday and Friday. Okay, so this is the rest of the morning session. After going to our target, it didn't do too much, pretty much just consolidated there. And here is the end of the day. After some consolidation through lunch, we did go up for the next buy side target, and we're just kind of steadily grinding up now. So Thursday morning, I like how we are above both of these fair value gaps on the daily. And as you can see, we are at new all-time highs now. Pre-market price is just consolidating. I think we may, with this, like you can see, we consolidated, but we recently did drive up for the buy side. I think there's a good chance that we could retrace back into some of this inefficiency just to rebalance it. This fair value gap here, the biggest one, this is the obvious one. We'll see if it gets back down there or not. But like I said, not really planning to trade today on Thursday. Tomorrow will be non-farm payroll, with the non-farm payroll rule at the news at 8:30. So it is 12:15. This is the morning action. You can see here at 8:30 we had some volatility here, but pretty much just another choppiness in this range. We had a big drop at 9:30, did not go back to the all-time high. Then we started to grind up a little bit more, and now we're kind of just like chopping around in the middle of this range. So pretty much only like 1-2 drops And with those drops, there wasn't any retracement, no real setup, honestly. If you look at the 15-minute, you can see how small of a range it was. You can see the consolidation here, and this is pretty much all we got all morning. And this is what it looks like at the end of the day at 5:15. This is still the 15-minute chart, so you can see that it pretty much just went sideways the whole day, actually. So today was not very exciting. Just zooming in, this is a 15-minute chart, and this is pretty much what you get. Taking a look at the 5-minute, you can see this was the price action. Not very appealing, honestly. Okay, so this is Friday morning, 8 o'clock on the 1 hour chart. You can see it's pretty much just continuing sideways. So, you know, this is pretty much a gamble if you're going to be trading before non-farm payroll this time around, because there's not a lot of clue as to where it's going to go. It could come for this 1 hour fair value gap. It could just go straight up. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and stay on the 15-minute to kind of see what happens at 8:30. It's going to be the NFP news right now. And you can see it wicked up for the buy side, and now it's going down. Looks like it may be coming back down for this 1 hour fair value gap. I'm going to go into the 5-minute to kind of take a closer look to see what's going on. Obviously, all the buy side and the sell side has been taken, so we're only relying on new information now. So this is what happened at 9:30. We did come back into this fair value gap, and then we dropped into this fair value gap. So still 50-50 on what it can do, because I can see price going back up above this high one more time to rebalance this inefficient a little bit more, maybe go into this this previous swing low, and then we start dropping for the 1 hour fair value gap. Or it could just be enough to start bouncing price up, heading for higher targets. Not really sure right now, so just going to continue watching. Okay, so 10:45, we did come back up to take this high into and rebalance this a little bit more. With this drop here, I thought we were going to go down for a market structure shift, heading for that 1 hour fair value gap, but it pretty much just consolidated, went sideways, and gave us another rally up. So now I'm not exactly sure what it's going to do. Does it want to go to 50% of this fair value gap and then drop down lower? Do we want to go above this high and start creating higher highs? You know, I'm not really sure still at this moment. Okay, so it's 11:15. Price did rally back up just shy of 50% of this wick, and then we started going down. There's a change to the state of delivery. You can see all these up candles, and then these down candles now is going below this opening price on this up candle. So there's a change in the state of delivery. What is it going to do? Are we going to just consolidate sideways, or are we going to head for that 1 hour fair value gap? You know, I think if we're going to head for the 1 hour fair value gap, we already went into this SIBI, but I would like to see a little bit more retracement, maybe into this SIBI, and then create a confirmation fair value gap. That could be a potential entry short for this 1 hour fair value gap. Okay, so 12:15, this was the morning action. We did come back up into this higher fair value gap. I thought with this drop down, we were going to get a market structure shift, but no, we just pretty much consolidated, and we made another high above this one. So just kind of waiting to see what happens. I mean, not like I'm trying to trade today anyways, just seeing the price action, just trying to read the price action. And we'll take a look at what happens at the end of the day. If we start getting displacement, that could be a potential entry for this lower fair value gap. I think that is what I favor going into today. It could come up for this high one more time, go into 50% of this wick actually, and then start dropping. But I'm looking for price to come back into this 1 hour fair value gap. Okay, and here is the end of the day action. We did go back into this fair value gap right here, did not displace lower. Instead, we started going up higher, even taking out this high of the day, and then had a pretty big drop. We pretty much consolidate after that. So it was pretty much just a consolidation day. We ended up here right in the middle of the range. So anyways, you can see why I don't like to trade non-farm payroll Fridays or even non-farm payroll Thursday, because of the consolidation. It just does not give us a good trading opportunity. I only took one trade this week. It was on Monday. That usually Monday or Tuesday gives you the best opportunities for trade during non-farm payroll. So that's why I have this rule of not trading the Thursday or Friday on NFP week. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me once again for another backtesting session. Getting pretty close to the halfway through the year. This is the month of June. Once we're done with June, we will be officially done with half of the year. So we are making a lot of progress. Please give me a like on this video and subscribe. And until I see you guys next time, safe trading.